Hello and welcome to this happy place. My name is Andrew and this is One Day Ticket. Let's get right into it.
With the soon-to-be opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World in August, 2019 marks the third year in a row that Disney World has opened a themed land based off an already established IP. After Pandora, World of Avatar in 2017 at Animal Kingdom, and Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios in 2018. So for me, it begs the question,
Are original Disney rides and lands dead?
to answer this question, let's look back at the last few years of Disney World rides to see just how long it's been since we've seen an original ride in the four parks. Just for the sake of time, I'm only going to be looking at Disney World for this section, but I'm sure if you looked at other parks from around the world, you're going to find similar patterns.
With that said, let's get on with it.
Let's start with what Disney opened in 2019, 2018, and 2017. The aforementioned Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story Land, and Pandora. 3 lands based off of huge, established franchises.
So what about 2016?
Well, that year, Soarin' Around the World opened. I guess you could label this a new ride, but to me, it's an update to an already established ride, so it doesn't really count as a new IP. Still pretty awesome, though. I mean, who doesn't love smelling rhino all around the world? Frozen Ever After also opened this year, replacing Maelstrom in Norway and Epcot's World Showcase. An amazing ride, no doubt, but a replacement of an original mainstay in Epcot's countries, and definitely falls under the established IP banner. 2015 doesn't see anything new open, but 2014 saw the completion of New Fantasyland with the opening of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Which, when you don't have to wait 3 hours, is actually a pretty fun ride.
But alas, another IP. This year also saw the integration of Magic Bands and FastPass Plus.
Which doesn't help anybody and fully proves that the apocalypse is on our hands. But that's for another video.
2013 gave us nothing, just like the year in general, unless you count Robin Thicke as something.
Thanks 2013.
2012 saw New Fantasyland open, an expansion in the back of Magic Kingdom, which saw franchises like Tangled, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid added to the ranks of other established Disney classics, like Snow White and Peter Pan. Also Small World. 2011 saw the opening of Star Tours The Adventure Continues, updating a classic but clearly aging ride. I'll always miss having Captain Rex being my tour guide, but it's pretty cool that he's going to have a permanent presence in the cantina in both Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy Edges? I don't know.
2010 saw nothing, but 2009 saw the American Idol Experience open.
Is it okay if I say nothing about this attraction? Yeah? Great, let's move on.
2008 saw Toy Story Mania, still one of my favorite attractions to this day. It is another ride based off of established IP. 2007 saw The Seas with Nemo and Friends just barely squeak in, opening in January, and Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor opening a few months later. Monsters, Inc. still makes me laugh, and Nemo was a necessary addition to a pavilion that people rarely went to, but both were proven IP. And finally, in 2006, we saw the opening of Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, one of the greatest Disney rides of all time. But the last original ride Disney has opened, at least in Disney World, in 13 years.
If this doesn't show you the trajectory that the Walt Disney Company has taken in the last few years, I don't know what will.
Slowly but surely, as Disney, the corporation, has acquired asset after asset, Disney, the theme parks, have largely seen them integrated into their parks all over the world. And with Marvel Land coming to Disneyland Resort beginning in 2020, and Tron, Ratatouille, Guardians, and more confirmed to be coming to Disney World over the next few years, the infusion of established IP in the theme parks doesn't seem to be coming to an end.
And sadly, it's not all that difficult to see why, at least from Disney's perspective. Disney clearly has a belief that what gets people through the turnstile nowadays is pre-established IP, with CEO Bob Iger even stating that.
Quote, the acquisition of these brands and the creation of intellectual property behind them have had a tremendous impact on growing our returns at the parks. When you have Star Wars to market at the parks, Avatar is a good example, Cars Land, we're building a Frozen Land, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Paris parks. The interest among the potential audience is higher. It's not like I'm going to ride some nondescript coaster somewhere that maybe is themed like India or whatever. No, you're going to Arendelle and you're going to experience Frozen with Anna and Elsa. Or you're going to fly a Banshee into Pandora. Go to Cars Land. We built Radiator Springs. You're with the characters in that town.
Disney obviously believes that a ride like Expedition Everest, which Iger doesn't make explicit mention of, but definitely makes reference to, isn't what gets people through the turnstiles nowadays, and sadly, they might be right.
Ever since the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened at Universal Studios in 2010 to rave reviews and attendance spikes, Disney has made a concerted effort to fill their parks with franchise after franchise. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Not with rumors of a new Universal Park opening with even more Harry Potter, and the continued success and expansion of Harry Potter in their already existing parks. And to be honest, that's a little saddening but completely understandable. Because while Iger could have definitely phrased his quote a bit better, he's not wrong. People go to theme parks to escape, and what better place to escape to than Pandora or Radiator Springs? What better way to draw people into a theme park than by giving them a place that they've watched on the big screen and always dreamed of going, but couldn't because that world they watched stayed forever fictional, until a theme park decided to build floating mountains in the sky. In today's theme park landscape, a ride like Expedition Everest is a nice ride to have to build up your inventory and keep people in the park, but its theme lands based off of existing IP like Avatar and Star Wars that brings people to the park in the first place.
Sadly, that means that we'll probably never get another Expedition Everest in one of the parks, at least not for a while. But I don't think that means the end of originality or innovation.
Tower of Terror, which is often touted as the greatest Disney attraction ever built, to me is pretty much a completely original ride that just simply uses the Twilight Zone as a template to tell their story. It wasn't based off of any previous episode, but rather a new original story that the Imagineers came up with themselves. In the past couple of years, Flight of Passage has opened up at Animal Kingdom to rave reviews, and it's more than a ride based off a movie. The ride is so good and unique that I now just accept Pandora as a completely original land that Disney built themselves and doesn't have a movie to base itself off of. So while we might not get completely original rides anymore, it doesn't mean originality is dead. It's just lying dormant, like attractions of a bygone era.
So that brings us to the end of the video, which leaves me with this question. How do you feel about the use of IP in Disney parks? Do you wish there were more original rides in the major theme parks? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching. Till next time, I'll see you around.